Welcome to the Lion's Test Kitchen. Today, we're going to experiment with some very exciting dishes that you can make during this most wonderful time of the year. Your guests will thank you. Today, we have a very special food service focus on white chocolate peppermint bread pudding. So to begin with, be sure to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. You're also going to want to have a pan to bake it in. I would recommend a stainless steel if you have it. And if that's the case, I would recommend also a pan liner. That will be sure that cleanup is much easier at the end of the day. You're also going to want to have a whisk. You're going to want to have a serving spoon and a 4-quart mixing container. You'll want your white chocolate bread pudding mixture from Carte, choice of bread, and any special flavors you'd like to add to the dish. Today we're going to use a hot chocolate mix that has some peppermint in it. It's going to be very good and very seasonal appropriate. For safety, be sure that you have gloves and a thermometer. I have mine right here. So, what do you say we get started? As I mentioned earlier, a really big part of this dish is I get to use product that I would have otherwise thrown away. This morning I was a little overzealous and made a lot of biscuits. I don't really have a use for them aside from this delicious bread pudding. So that's what I'm going to use as the base today. Take the bread that you're going to be using and you'll want to cut it up. You can either use a knife or your hands. If you use your hands, be sure to wear your gloves. You don't have to be very precious with this. Just nice pieces that will look good in the bread pudding, that's what you need. I would recommend maybe 6-7 biscuits depending upon the size of container you use. Also, that will dictate just how juicy your bread pudding is. Some people like a very runny bread pudding. Others like it to be very dense. The more bread you put in, the denser it will be. I like mine somewhere in the middle, where when you shake the pan, it jiggles at the end. So now you're going to be sure that you have your container. This is going to be where we do all of our great works. So this is the thawed out bread pudding mixture from Carte. I'm going to very carefully use my knife here just to open up our bag. Pour that right in. It's delicious. It's all the right noises. And as you'll see, these are some lovely little white chocolate bits. It's going to make the final product so good. Give a little stir, be sure everything's in there together. So I have my white chocolate bread pudding mixture, and I'm going to add some hot chocolate mix. This hot chocolate mix also has peppermint in it. So it's going to have a really nice smell that your guests and customers will notice right off. Now, you could be very conservative with this and put one bag. I'm going to go a little bit crazy and I'm using 3 bags of hot chocolate mix. You can use any hot chocolate mix you want. In this case, I just want a little bit of peppermint. I will say I do know that this mixture is not quite as sweet as I would probably like it. So I'm going to add a little bit of the powdered sugar just to give it just a little more oomph. I suppose that's about 3 ounces. And just because I'm a rebel, cinnamon. Let's pop that in. Just a little bit to give it a little personality. Have my whisk and give it a nice little mix around. You want to be sure that this is very well mixed. You don't want clumps of chocolate left in some parts of your bread pudding and not in others. So by giving it a very thorough whisking, the product's going to be much better in the end. So once you're finished mixing the bread pudding mixture, it's time to add it to the bread. I think we're ready to put it in the oven. So be sure to set your timer from 30 to 45 minutes. It all depends upon your oven. What I do is set it a little bit early. If the lowest possible time is 30 minutes, I usually will set my timer to 20 to 25 minutes. That way I can check it out, see how she's doing. And a nice little tip, if it looks like it's getting a little bit darker on the outside, but the temperature on the inside, using a thermometer, is not quite at 160 degrees yet, I would put some aluminum foil right on top so that it doesn't burn. What we're looking for here is 160 degrees. We got it. After the product is prepared, you have 2 hours of use in your hot box. To save the product, be sure to wrap tightly in cellophane, and it can last in your cooler for 5 days. If you wish to freeze it, it can remain frozen for 3 months. To heighten the appeal, I have a little cinnamon and powdered sugar that we're going to put on top, just to make it look that much more appetizing. Thank you for joining us today. Had a great time exploring this particular food focus on bread pudding from a la carte. Remember, this is Lion's number 624494, and would love to be part of yours and your guest Christmas celebration this year. Thank you so much, and have a great afternoon.